Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bravo Tea with the Stay at Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to talk all things Bravo. Welcome back, everybody, and I am joined by a new friend, Val from Draw Me Bitch. How are you, bitch?
How's it going?
Good. I'm so excited to talk all things Vanderpump, but let's first talk a little bit about your business, your drawings, because I think they're awesome. I can't draw to save my life. I think my 6-year-old daughter comes home with better drawings from school than me.
Well, that's good. That keeps me in business then. I just kind of, well, I've been drawing forever, but I started doing Draw Me Bitch during the pandemic when we were all stuck at home. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, I actually got really obsessed with Drag Race that season.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I fell in love with one of the stars on there. And that's when I started kind of chiming into people's live streams and getting into the whole Instagram stuff. I hadn't really done Instagram before that. And I kind of used it as a way to get my favorite star's attention. I was like, hey, Rose, here's a portrait of you.
Oh,
And
I love that.
that's kind of how it started. And then it started going towards the housewives. So I got Erica Jane's attention. I didn't realize she had her lawsuits and things going on at the time, but I drew her and it was perfect timing because she wasn't feeling a lot of love. And so she shared it.
Oh
And
my God, that's good.
and I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was all going on right now. But yeah, that's kind of how I started this page.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. Yeah, she's probably like, "Oh my God, a friend."
It's perfect timing.
You could have been in, like, the courtroom doing the drawings.
Right.
Oh my God.
That was good.
I know. Well, congratulations. That's so awesome. I think that's so fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's fun being able to kind of reach out and make contact with people I see on the screen and um, have them kind of interact with me that way.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. I know. I feel like I first had downloaded TikTok during the pandemic and then I kind of like stopped using it and I'm like, "Oh, if I would have stuck with it, I could maybe be a TikTok star."
Seriously, I know. Like I got into it towards the tail end, and I think that is when a lot of people blew up.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I feel like TikTok, like Instagram is like I understand fully how to use it. TikTok always takes me a little bit.
Me too. I'm just starting to understand TikTok. It's brand new.
Yeah, I know. I get stuck watching all those videos though. It's definitely funny.
Yeah.
And I get sucked into all the Bravo videos. Like some people have been making these crazy timelines of like everything that they say and then what they say in the middle of the season and then the end of the season. I'm like, that's a lot of work. People don't understand that.
I know this have got to be hours and hours. It's insane.
Yeah, like taking and looking up those little clips.
I mean, it takes a long time to draw a picture, but I know for a fact being able to dig up all of those videos would be very time consuming.
I
And it's kind of scary being like being a reality star these days because everyone's like such a sleuth and like keeping tabs on everything, documenting. It's just insane. It's crazy.
I know. I do feel like bad for these people sometimes because I'm like, "Ugh, if I was on TV, they'd probably nitpick everything I'm saying and doing too." Like, I don't like to be a troll in the comments. Like, sometimes I will say like an opinion, but I'm never like mean. Like, some of these people are
Yeah.
crazy mean.
Oh yeah, there's so many mean people, mean-spirited people out there. It's I like to kind of tease people like with my artwork. I sometimes tease a little bit, but I try to keep it lighthearted. I did get um a little bit mean towards the Raquel and Tom stuff. That was the
Understandable.
first time. I was like, I feel like I can do this here. Like they kind of deserved it at that moment. So
Yeah, acceptable. Acceptable. Well, I also wanna hear about you went to the scene of the crime. You went to a watch party where they had the season finale of VPR. So how was that?
yes, I actually was at the original filming at that same venue when they filmed the season finale.
Oh
And
my god, that's so
full
cool.
circle moment being able to be there watching the finale. Um, that was at the watch party too. It was a really cool experience.
That's cool. So I watch like live that night on Bravo, but then the next day I do tend to watch the Peacock because they'll do like extended uncensored, and sometimes watching the uncensored, just hearing the curse words, like not bleeped out, just makes it a whole different experience. But that crazy guy, why
Oh
did they not leave that in on Bravo for the 2 minutes?
I know. Was that you? I think that was on your podcast. You were saying, was this just to like bring us over to Peacock? And maybe that was kind of brilliant on their end to like use that to kind of lure people over to the Peacock version. But that was
Yeah.
honestly the most entertaining part of the entire episode.
And, like, no one knew who he was. So I'm like, "How do you even get in that VIP? Like, are you telling me if I was at that party, I could just be dressed up and dance over there and, like,
Well,
I
there
could
was a
stand
lot
there?"
of people there that night that were getting really close, and he just kind of took it a step further and walked in. But there was a lot of people just right outside. Whenever the cameras weren't there, I think some of them were like would interact with you and stuff like that if you were kind of close to the velvet rope. But
Yeah.
I never got close enough because Kyle told me to keep my distance until they were done filming. So I was trying to be respectful and not
Yeah.
there any of them. And then like all that crap went down at the end. So I never really got to talk to anybody except for the Toms that
Yeah.
day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were the only ones who were kind of stepping outside of the ropes. I think they're a little more used to entertaining with like at um Schwartz and Sandy's, like Tom Schwartz is used to kind of being out and speaking with people, and the other ones were kind of like LaLa and Ariane. Everyone was like staying inside the ropes and not really engaging with people at the party.
Yeah. I know, and then I saw that James was DJing because I don't think they really showed that on the show, but he was, like, yelling down to Brock, like, "Who's that guy?"
Yeah, that was funny seeing what he was saying because I was literally observing all of this go down in real time, and I was actually live streaming it
Oh
on
my god.
a lot of the videos you saw from online of like Ariana walking out. That's my video, and
Oh,
just
that's so cool.
LaLa like doing her thing, and then Tom like exploding. I thought when Tom was like yelling at them, I thought he was yelling about what had happened with that guy that had thrown the
Right.
drink. That happened like right one thing after the other, just kind of, and then the everything just kind of stopped at that point. So it was kind of an abrupt ending to the finale. It felt kind of like a strange ending, but it was
Yeah.
seeing it kind of unfold on um the episode was good to see.
I
Like,
know, and then how do you feel about, like, how they closed it out, like, all those the montage of, like, the slow music, the old pictures, like, my thought is they're leaving it in case it doesn't come back for a season, that's an ending, but
yeah,
then if they do, it's like, "Oh, okay, that was just like a, like, cool ending."
yeah, I mean, maybe they didn't have a lot to work with because maybe they were trying to make some sort of different ending happen with Ariana and Tom, and they didn't get what they wanted, and
Mhm.
maybe just like what they had to do to like give it some sort of closure. But as soon as that came on, I just felt like this feeling of doom, like, oh no, this can't be like the end of it. Hopefully, it's not, but
I know, and, like, so I make my husband watch all this stuff with me, and he was like, "Wait, who's that?" And it was, like, Scheana, and I'm like, "I know, like, they all like, not to, like, cause like, girl, do whatever, get the glow up, we all look different," and those were so long ago, but I'm like, it's crazy when you see I'm like, "Yeah, like, these people don't even look the same when you look season 1 of whatever show they're on to now." I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh
it
my
was
gosh."
wild to see, especially Sheena. She definitely looks the most different.
Yeah. Which, like, not hating, but I was just like, "Oh my god, look," and they were so young, so it's just
Yeah, the
naturally
baby
like,
too.
even James, I'm like, "You have a baby face when you started."
It's so cute on that.
He's, like, definitely the number 1 guy in the group now, like, I think he's made full circle maturity, I like seeing his growth, and I'm rooting for him and Allie.
Me too. I know there's been like a lot of rumors about him. I hope are not true, and stuff like that. But everything I've seen on camera, everything that he has shown me, I like him. So I don't.
Yeah, and I feel like he was a bad person with the alcohol, so since he's sober, I'm like, I don't see him cheating and doing bad stuff, like, I think he did that bad stuff, like, not really from his personality, from the drinking.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. All right, let's like recap the reunion a little bit. Like, so there's 3 parts, which I always hate because we always get like the drag out, I feel like. I like these things to be 2 parts, and I want to see all the extended like Peacock release all 8 hours of the footage, honestly.
Yes, I know. I would sit there and just cram all of it
I
all
know.
day.
Because I watched the one on Bravo and the one on Peacock, and there was just like some random things that they leave out. And I'm like, that's why I go back. I think they just want us to subscribe to Peacock.
The finale of the reunion, I haven't watched that one. So there was some clips that you didn't see on the live.
Just like a little bit, like nothing like crazy, like not like leaving that guy throwing drinks out. Especially, I was like weird to touch back on that. They showed that in the trailer. So then them not to really like show the whole thing on the show. I was like, it wasn't that long.
No, it wasn't. It was so good.
Like, the only other thing they left out that was long that definitely could stay left out was, like, when Joe arrived in San Francisco and her and Schwartz were talking for, like, 5 minutes. I'm like, "Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's."
that was unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, she's gonna come to the next part of the reunion, and Allie.
Yeah. Were you expecting them to show that clip of the finale at the beginning, or were you expecting it to be more towards the end?
I was like, "I bet that's gonna be part 3, the last damn 10
I
minutes."
was
Like,
I don't know why I like just hoped it was gonna be like the first part, but
I know.
that's when everything maybe like exploded on the third part.
That's definitely what's gonna make Ariana cry. I think seeing LaLa talk like that, but then I think what's also gonna make her cry is Tom saying, "She talks shit about all of you," because it's just like, after everything you've done, just maybe don't say anything about her.
I wondered if because I Katie was there when all this was going on, so I was like, how is this going to be a surprise to Ariana? But maybe she didn't tell her. Maybe she what I don't know how much she may have been in on some of the conversation, like with
Mm,
some of her feelings, and obviously not as extreme as LaLa or Scheana or Tom, but I just kind of wondered how did Ariana not hear
yeah.
things when Katie was sitting there. But I'm wondering if maybe there's even a little bit more that we haven't seen yet because of how they had Tom at the end with the evil laugh. And he was like, this is good
Yeah.
for me. And it kind of made me feel like maybe there's like a little tiny piece more that we haven't even seen. Maybe-
Oh, that could be it. And where I was like, since she hasn't watched it at all, I wonder if they montage all the times people talk shit on her. Like, just Sheena making that backup dancer comment, like, that's kinda hurtful.
Yes. But didn't it seem though that sorry, I'm an artist, so my brain goes. Didn't it seem like everyone was surprised, like the producers and Andy and everyone was surprised that she hadn't watched it? It seemed like every
Yeah, and then also for timeline, at the beginning, they're, like, talking about how awkward it was for them to live together. She had not purchased her house yet, and she bought her house, like, the beginning of March. So I forgot when they filmed this reunion, I was like, "This must be, like, February," which is so long ago.
oh,
So
yeah.
the season wasn't even all out. I know they give them the season to watch, but
Mhm.
I'm like, if the whole season wasn't even out, that girl was, like, booked and busy.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I love how they're like, "Oh, how dare you not watch this?" It's
Right.
like, she's been so busy.
Right. I wouldn't have watched it if I was her either, just because who wants to relive all that?
I know. I wouldn't wanna, like, watch, I would just wanna watch the confessionals,
Oh, right. Yeah.
or
Just as
maybe even the scenes without me. I don't know. Like, I would just wanna that's how you kinda come to the reunion prepared,
mm,
is knowing what everyone said about you, and that's why everyone gets fired up at the reunion because it's like, you film stuff, you get over it, and then you watch it, and you see what people say behind your back, and then it's like, reopens the wound, and you
yeah.
come to the reunion and, like, flip out, like.
She was very just like her energy so far, and I don't know if it continues like that. I don't know if she's just like exhausted or she's just checked out, but like so far, Ariana on the reunion is just like so
She's chill.
gray
They're
rock.
all, like, pretty chill too compared to last year, because last year it was like,
Yeah.
wild, and everyone was ready to be like, "Ah!" That was the best one to watch uncensored because
Um,
James and LaLa said the F word like every other word. So I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, it's just is so much different on Peacock."
I don't know how many times I watched that one over and over again.
I
So
know.
so
And they did say Ariana and LaLa said they don't regret anything they said the last reunion, which I like because it's like, I've been back and forth with LaLa, more on the decline of LaLa towards the end of the season, just because it would be putting your foot in your mouth if you're like, "Oh, now I take back everything I said last season," because it's like, no, that's how you felt.
yeah. I was listening to a clip of her yesterday, and said that in the past she feels bad about certain things or would take it back, and then how she feels right now in this season, she doesn't take any of that back. She still feels that exact same way. So I was hoping that, because I was starting to, really like her, and I was like cheering her on
Mhm.
pregnancy and stuff like that. And like she's kind of losing me right now. It's just like
Same.
it's a little too much. I can see where she could feel that way on certain things, but it's just like it's starting to become bigger than it needs to be.
Yeah, she's just really hypocritical because I feel like also, like, this is just gonna be my rant and 2 cents. Like, when they were talking about how they felt like it was implied that Tom groomed Raquel, and Raquel is basically trying to say that to take no blame, and I still call her Raquel.
Yeah.
And, it's I don't believe that because I believe what Schwartz was saying, like, she was just as guilty. She's not, like, vulnerable like you saw, like, with, like, Charles Manson. He was taking, like, people that were, like, lost and wounded, not, like, girls that are already in the friend group and come from a nice family, and, like, she's just now trying to use that as an out. I feel like LaLa actually thinks she was groomed by Randall, and I'm not gonna say maybe she didn't meet him and felt like he was, like, powerful, but, like, she liked that. I mean, she always used to brag like, "Oh, I met him, and then the next day I got a Range Rover." And
Yeah.
she has said multiple times she comes from a family with money. Her mom was paying her rent. So it's like, I don't think he groomed you because you could have just like went home and you had a nice home life. You didn't feel like you had to be with him and she was already on the show. So
Right.
she already had a life. I think she just wanted a life like that. And then now since it didn't work out, it's like, oh, he took advantage of me and groomed me. And on the Hulu documentary, the Randall scandal, her mom said that her and Randall had like a volatile relationship and would fight all the time, and then she got pregnant. So for me, it's kind of like, what'd you think was going to happen? Maybe you should have broke up with him because now you have a child with him. And it's weird to me that she's like, I'm in a custody battle. And it's like, I would love to know all the details about it because you can't take the child away from the dad just because you don't like the dad anymore.
Hmm.
And it's like,
Do that.
he cheated on you, but unless the child's in harm, like, that's the dad, and that's why her main reason was she wanted to be pregnant by herself because she's like, "I don't wanna share this baby," and it's like, "But you had a bad relationship, it sounded like, before, but you liked the glitz and the glam, so you stayed, and then you got pregnant with someone you really didn't like anymore."
Yeah. I didn't watch that documentary, so I can't really speak on the timeline of her relationship and stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of times women think that if they are cheating and end up with a guy, that guy's not going to do that to them, and it's just kind of,
Mhm.
I think it's an ignorant thing to assume that that's not going to happen to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also like she can't take the child away from him, but he also can't take the child away from her. So like she was saying in the um reunion that the custody battle's going on, and someone said, well, what does he want? And she's like, I don't know. And it's just, I don't know, seems like it would be an easy solution to me, but I guess it's
I
easy.
think I know, because then, like, she implied, that he's not around a lot, and then I'm like, "Okay, so does that mean Ocean doesn't go with him a lot, and that's why she wants, like, set custody, like, "No, this is your time, and you have to have the time, and if you don't, then" maybe you'll just end up never having time because you're, like, abandoning her. I don't know, but it was or it's like, does she still go there and he's not there? And it's like a nanny's there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that bothers her, which I could see.
It bother me too, for sure.
But I'm like, "Ugh, I wish, like, everyone had just could legally talk about all this stuff because I feel like they're always like, "No, it's a legal matter. I can't comment." And I'm like, "No, but I wanna know."
I know. I know. I know I can understand how maybe on holidays and stuff like that, that would be hard. But yeah. I listened to Lala's podcast quite a bit over the past couple of months, and so I've heard a little bit about her thoughts on some of this, but I don't know a whole lot either.
I know. I listened to it too. I haven't listened to it lately because 'cause I've been a little upset with her. So
I stopped too. I stopped.
so I was, like, taking a pause, even though I do enjoy, like, her brother on it and her assistant, like, I think they're funny, and honestly, her mom is, like, funny when they tell the stories. I was like, I would, like, probably watch her by herself
Her mom, yeah.
with, like a life day in the life of, like, her, the husbands, the mom, the brother. Like
Well, that kind of brings me to something I wanted to that you had mentioned on your podcast. Like, I think it was either this last one or the time before, but you were saying that you would not like her on the Valley, and
Mhm,
I was not sure how I felt about that, but you said something that really rang true to me, which was that she would bring the show's like so organic at the moment, and she would
mhm.
bring in like that producer edge to it, and I like agreed to it because she's overly produced, and I don't think at this moment I would like her on the Valley either. But what you're saying right now, like I would watch her on her own show with her mom and in her family. I think that would
Yeah.
thing I would like that better because I
'Cause
don't.
she wouldn't be putting on a front. It'd be more like the Kardashians, like, they're really it's just about them and, like, their family and their daily life, so, like, I always felt like the Kardashians kept it pretty real.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like they're not trying to do anything, whereas, yeah, like, even during this reunion, like, Lala is, like has to get a word after everyone to make it make sense from her opinion. I'm like, "Are you Andy Cohen? Like, just take a chill pill."
Yeah, seriously, be like, okay, turn her mic off.
Yeah, like, the Valley right now, yeah, is, like, Brittany, Jax, and Kristen were on TV, and Janet, like, has been friends with these people, but it's like, right now, everyone doesn't really know what they're doing. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't want you in there, like, producing and having meetings and, like, doing this, and it was funny, like, I don't think her and Sheena bought houses so they could be on the Valley. Like, I really think they just wanted to, like, live there, and like she said, "That's all I could afford," and I'm like, "Understandable." But it is weird that it's like, "Oh, this show came on and, like, now let me move here, and maybe we'll just go on there, and who cares about Vanderpump Rules?"
Yeah, I mean, I guess both of them were living in kind of like apartments or kind of townhouses
Yeah,
before.
so it makes sense that they move. I mean, Lala's apartment looks so big, it was like a upstairs, downstairs, like, I was like, "She's probably paying, like, a mortgage in that apartment."
Yeah, yeah, but they've been making bank lately, so I guess they
Yeah. Which like, what's your opinion on that? She like, at the beginning, Andy was like, "Oh, you bought a house," and they show, like, the pictures of the house. She's just like, "Yeah," and it's like, "Yeah, and it's kinda because of all of this," and then you're gonna, like, shit on Ariana a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And then but I could see where there's some like, oh, if the show's ending and I just got this huge house and I have to continue to be able to pay this, but some that should have been thought about maybe before you like spent all of your money on all
I
these.
think that's why she got upset with Ariana towards the end because she was doing stuff like that, and she's probably like, "Listen, the show can't end because I'm spending money."
Right. Yeah.
I think she thought like, "Oh, if you don't film this scene with Tom, they're gonna put a fork in it, it's done."
Yeah, I think she's 100% motivated by the paycheck and the money, and that's like a lot of her. She's probably got some jealousy, of course, but I think
Yeah.
motivated by the money than her friendships. And like on the surface level, I could understand why she felt that way while it was being filmed, but it's like you have to look at the bigger picture and like what somebody's going through, and she of all people should be able to understand that.
That's why I was upset with her because of the Randall thing.
Yeah, the
And I'm like, Ariana's is even worse. Like the worst part about LaLa's is they have a child, so you can't just kick that guy to the curb. You do have to deal with him on some level for the rest of your life, pretty much.
Mhm.
And then at least he cheated with strangers. I mean, I'm not like applauding that he cheated, but Ariana's is like that was a close friend and coworker, and it was, like, in their house,
Yeah.
and it was one person for, like, almost a year. Like, I think Randall's were, like, one night stands. Like, I don't think he had full blown, like, relationships with meaning, which is worse.
Yeah, I think somebody yesterday was talking to me about like why is everybody cheats? Why is this such everyone always kind of has this conversation? And I think the whole thing with Tom and Rachel Raquel is just that it was under all of our noses. Like it was right.
Mhm.
They thought they were pulling this off not just to her, but to the cameras, to the producers, to us. And so it's like everyone feels like it was like almost personal.
Yeah, and they were being, like, judgy to other people
That's the
while
word.
they were doing that.
Yeah, that's totally the worst part about it.
I know. Do you think Schwartz really knew, like, the whole entire time almost?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much admitted to it knowing the whole time. So, I mean,
So you think he kissed Raquel and he knew? Because that's
yeah,
weird,
I know that is weird. I think
right?
he was
I'm
probably
like
like, I'm acting right now. I'm an actor.
yeah, yeah, I was like, "You know what? Of all shows, we do have to remember they were all, like, aspiring models or actors." So that's why sometimes, like, when Tom would cry, it's like, "Yeah, we don't know if we could believe you because, like, at one time, you wanted to be like an actor."
Yeah, it is hard. I think sometimes I feel like it's authentic, but it's really hard to like. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of when people are acting or not acting. Like
Mm.
what, but with him, it's really hard to tell like when he's actually crying or not.
I know, and then the whole time he was doing PR during this process, they brought it up when he compared it to the OJ Simpson trial and George Floyd, and I'm like, "Oh, dear God." Lala did say what I said, like, to my friends when that was happening. I was like, not to defend him because he's an idiot and he shouldn't have said that at all, but I think he means it's getting, like, news coverage like
Yeah,
these big things when it's really not, and then when Lala broke that down and he described that, he's like, "Well, that's what I meant," and it's like, "Well, maybe you should have just said, 'I can't believe this is overtaking, like, big stories in the news.'"
yeah. Maybe don't get so specific. It's like
Yeah, don't name names. Like
most amazing human on the planet, but I knew he did not mean that. I don't think he's racist. I don't think, I don't think he is a lot of those things. So I knew he didn't mean that, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, you were just
yeah,
like,
the PR team is probably like, "Oh, shut up."
I know. It's like if you're, I don't know. I think you would try to censor yourself a little bit better in that situation, but
I know, but then that's when we gotta say, "Well, he's keeping it real. He's on reality TV."
yes, yes. My mom, my mom kind of follows him now, but
Yeah, that's so funny.
she was just like, "Oh my gosh, he's not very smart, is he?" And
No.
he's kind of a mimbo, a little bit of a mimbo.
Oh, I like that one. I'm gonna use that. Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
But then I loved when James was like, "Oh, I'm just tired of talking about all this, and I'm just so over it." And Andy was like, "Well, you did bring Raquel into the group." And I'm like, "Oh, truth."
I loved Tom's expression though when he said that because he had like this like angry look on his face, and then when they said that to James, like his eyebrows like went up, and it was
Yeah.
oh, it must be nice to like relax your brow for a second, but so good.
No, that was funny because I didn't like honestly, I didn't like Raquel from the beginning. Like,
Right.
even if this didn't happen, I would still roll my eyes when her scenes are on and be like, "Oh my god, do we have to watch you and hear you?"
It is insufferable. I never liked her either, and I think that is part of the reason why I think a lot of people didn't like her, and
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people really liked Tom and Ariana, and a lot of people did not like her, and so that's
Mhm.
why this all exploded. I think because she plays so innocent all the time, like she's
Yeah.
an innocent, and it's just like she's got that wicked side.
Yeah, she's like Jekyll and Hyde almost. It's like crazy.
Yeah,
Because her saying that like Ariana and her were like acquaintances, so disgusting. Going back to she like is basically accusing Tom of taking advantage of her and grooming her like she's in a cult.
Mm.
and then, like, not even coming back to the show, but starting a podcast and talking about the show and the people on the show every week. I had to agree with Tom when he's like, "She's a coward."
Oh yeah, I loved that part. It was funny saying expression to
I was
him.
like, "Yes," because I I was like, "I don't think she's gonna come back to the show," but if she did, she didn't want to. She wanted to take the coward way out, but still talk about everybody, and if she woulda come back to the show, she would have had to have real conversations and own up to something.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's very good when she
Mm-mm.
she's not equipped with a lot of quick-wittedness. So I think she would have been destroyed by pretty much everyone.
I know. It would have been crazy, like, sometimes I think about it, and I said it before, if she did come back, like, I think we definitely woulda got a scene with her and Scheana,
Hmm.
even if it was group, like, off to the side. Probably with Tom, but I don't think Ariana.
No.
Definitely a lunch with LaLa alone.
Yeah.
LaLa would have done that.
I don't know if this would happen or not, but do you feel like maybe there's like and this maybe isn't happening, but I've wondered if maybe there was like a little message from her in the finale or in the re- because even Tom's face
Wild.
shocked. Like I was kind of like, well, why is he shocked? Why does everyone look shocked? But maybe they were taking clips from parts that didn't have anything to do with that and just making it look like everyone was shocked. But I just kept thinking like, well, why would
Even LaLa looks shocked, and I'm like, "What are you shocked about?"
yeah, yeah. That would be
That
I
would
would
be wild.
some sort of like not closure, but just like I don't know. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. I feel like it would be, like, just blaming it all on Tom, though,
Oh, yeah, totally.
which I would hate, and I would get mad.
Yeah, I know. I like Tom better than I like Rachel. So
I know, like, he was doing okay in the season, but then anytime he would do the, "Yeah, but," and I'm like, "No, but, like, for now, just eat it." Even if you think this person is, like, wrong, you're really wrong, so just eat your words for a little bit.
yeah, he's not really capable of holding back very well, is he?
I know. Or, like, when he was trying to, like, buy James, like, with sunglasses and pay for the sound for Scheana, and that was, like, the goofiest thing with Scheana. Like, between her and LaLa, I understand why she was upset because her and Sandoval were actually friends, but it's like, are you just getting upset because he's, like, paying for your sound and that's why you, like, are like, "Yeah, that's why it was nice to be his friend." It's like, you can't live in the past. If this is who he is now, then, like, I wouldn't wanna be friends with him.
Yeah, I think it was you saying on your podcast about well, it's like yeah, he's doing all of this stuff, but he's also the one who was kind of assisting Rachel with the restraining order. Were you
Mhm.
on your podcast? I thought that's where I heard you.
Yeah. And that night he said to her on the phone, like, "We were never friends." So it's like 10 years ago is different than right now.
Yeah,
Like, this is how he's treating and acting right now.
yeah. I don't know. I understand that, like her saying she's a boy's girl. I've always kind of been a boy's girl too, just because I have brothers and I kind of get along with guys a lot better than girls. So I kind of understood her when she said that back in the day. But I don't know. It's just kind of in this situation. But what bothers me with Scheana is that how she keeps bringing it back to Ariana. Like, why are you trying to get her to understand where you're coming from? It's like she's not going to
Sh
like why,
Her and Schwartz are people pleasers.
yeah.
They get nervous if everyone like, if someone is not at ease with them.
Yeah. I mean, I do too, but so I understand that. But I why it's like she doesn't want to hear about what he's doing. That's nice. Like just you don't have to let her
I
know.
know. I know, and then I'm like, "Is the producer telling her to go up and say this to Ariana?" Like, I know they do break the fourth wall sometimes, which I love, but I know they couldn't go up to Ariana on camera, so I wonder if it happened off camera, if Sheena's like, "Hey, do you mind if, like, I just at least interact with him while we film because I don't wanna lose my job, but, like, off camera, I'm not friends with him."
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that's what
I
they said to her sometimes, like, "Don't get mad at me, I'm not his friend, but, like, I have to show up and film this with him. I don't wanna be fired, so don't be mad at me."
I think she really truly does,
I know, I do too.
but a lot of people are wondering if there was kind of a thing going on behind the scenes with Tom and like Brock and everyone, and even LaLa and Scheana, like, let's try to make this ending happen. Like, the producers were like, everyone was trying to get her to do this. And that's why Scheana was saying that. And that's why Brock was saying that when they were at the Chinese restaurant,
Yeah.
like trying to push towards this ending.
Well, and everyone's like, "You need to have a conversation with him. You never had a conversation with him." It's like, "Do you remember the last episode of last season?"
Right. Like, she's totally set her boundaries aside plenty of times already. And it's just, you're not going to get like an apology and I accept your apology. That's obviously not going to happen. Like,
Well, and I agreed with her. Do you watch the after show?
a little bit.
She had said in there, but I think she said in the episode too, like, there were plenty of times he could have pulled me aside in the house when there was no cameras, written me a letter. Writing a letter would have been the best bet because you know what? Leave it. She can read it, because she can't ignore the letter, but she can ignore you. I get that if she's like, "I don't wanna talk to you." But then we would have proof of the letter too.
Right. True. I think that would have been the best way. And that makes a lot of sense. And I can understand that, like, I don't want some fake apology for the cameras. And then she's the bad guy if she doesn't accept it, you know?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think, like, her and Katie are getting irritated because they base this show off of a group of friends, which is how some of the housewives used to start, but by now it's like they lump people in. And maybe you still have one friend left on the show, but that's why these people fight sometimes and don't get along because they aren't friends. And like that's how it's maybe easy for them to stab each other in the back. But I think Ariana and Katie are like, no, we were all actually friends, and then the show came, so it's like, I'm not gonna now, like, turn against my friend or produce life with my friend because that's not real.
Right. Definitely. I was trying to think. I kind of like started going off in a tangent with you. I was like, no, I forgot. I lost it.
Like, remember how, like, when Beverly Hills first started, like, Lisa Vanderpump really lived across the street from Adrienne Maloof. She
Oh,
was really friends with Kyle Richards.
mhm.
Um, Kim Richards was on, which is Kyle's sister, so it's like they were all, like, real, or, like, Jersey was, like, Jacqueline, Dina, Caroline, they're all related, like,
Or that.
Teresa was really their friend, like, now it's come to, like, of course, these people are gonna scream at each other, they don't even like each other or know each other.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Maybe what you were saying about Sheena is true because she was defending him through all this, but then now she's saying she's not really friends with either one of them. So it does kind of make me wonder if some of that was just for the camera. I don't really know.
Yeah, and then did you see she was, like had Ariana's brother who was not speaking to her, which is weird, when he got engaged to his girlfriend, like, he was, like, with Sheena, and I'm like, "If him and Ariana aren't even speaking, like, why are you with him?" Like, that's weird.
That was weird.
And I'm like, "Where'd you come from?" Like,
Yeah, just in time for the engagement. It was like, I'm here.
I know, and of all people, I never would have thought he was, like, a whore for the camera to say.
Yeah, I wonder what the motivation of that was. Or was it like the other way around? Was it like Sheena, because she's kind of popping into stuff like with Allie's video, and maybe she's kind of in it. But he was over there at Jackson's. I don't know. It is a little strange.
Right? That's what I mean, like, I think Katie and Ariana are like, "We're, like, done with all your people's, like, fakeness." I don't think Schwartz is fake, though, but, I mean, he faked, you know, he lied, he was an accomplice in all this.
Yes, it's interesting seeing all this behind the scenes stuff, and like, I think we've got a very good view of what's that there is some like production fake things going on, because I think with Schwartz it was just interesting because I don't think of him as being that way either, but there was some stuff kind of going on with Joe where it makes me wonder if there is like a facade that everyone kind of tries to. And that wasn't
Yeah, when she comes on. Okay, so this is my thought about Joe and Schwartz. I feel like he let her on because, like, it's that people pleasing thing, and, like, he knew if he said, like, "I don't wanna be your boyfriend," like, that they would stop hanging out, and he really did like her friendship. Like, I think it was like a friends with benefits thing, but she caught feelings, and then he felt awkward.
yeah, yeah. I have heard that she did a few things and he wasn't really like didn't communicate with her that he wasn't cool with that or whatever. And
I
she's
wanna know why her and Kristen aren't friends anymore.
I guess I mean from what I hear it's just that she dropped her as soon as she got with Schwartz. It was like she was a stepping stone or something to get to where she wanted to be.
Yeah, like, I'd love to know if there was ever a conversation or if Kristen called her and was like, "Hey, like, what the hell?
I know.
We need Kristen to come out of the woodwork and tell
Oh,
us."
I want to know more. I want to
I
know more.
know. I know, like, at first I was like, "Ugh, I don't wanna see Joe at the reunion," but then I'm like, "No, I kinda do." She's, like, crazy. She's, like, Instagram lives, and she's, like, crazy.
Wow, it is like how Schwartz I would be concerned.
I know. Did you hear the one on the one podcast I talked about when she was like, "Yes, I think Schwartz and I will be together in the future one day." And I'm like, "He literally has a girlfriend. Like, are you gonna kill her so then you guys can be together?" Like, I picture her at home with like a voodoo doll,
Oh
like
my
poking Schwartz' girlfriend.
totally. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
She's just like desperate, which I feel bad. Like, I feel bad for her in that sense that he let her on, but it's like you're making yourself look crazy.
I know. Like just step aside. Just kind of like
Yeah.
let
And her, I can't wait to see her with Katie, like, it's like, be quiet with the Katie thing, like, when she was at the reunion or I mean, the finale, and she was like, "I just really want you to say sorry to me." It's like, "For what? Go away." Like,
no, I still don't understand that either. It's like even if she explained it, I can't understand why she's looking for an apology from Katie.
she's just so weird, and she could never full-time be on this show, so she should just delete Vanderpump Rules from her bio because she's too weak for it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, emotionally weak. Like, did
And
you
she's weird.
listen to her on Rachel's podcast?
No, because I can't listen to Rachel's podcast because I'm just like, ugh. But I saw clips, so I'm like, oh, that was probably interesting. But see, listening to stuff like that sometimes makes me mad because I'm like, you guys are just going to say both the Toms are manipulating you and that you're just like wounded little birds.
Yeah. It's like you both are so innocent.
Yeah.
I liked it when you did a Rachel impression on your podcast. You do a good
LaLa, don't make fun of me.
it's good.
That's what she always sounded like to me. Like, I honestly, I don't know. I know Tom and Ariana were not having much of a sex life, but, like, I just sh I don't know, Raquel was always so annoying. She was a pretty girl, but, like, her speaking, her personality, like, everything, it's like, "No."
Yes, it is like nails on a chalkboard. That's why I can't listen to her podcast either, but I did listen to a big chunk of when Joe was on there. Maybe I did listen to it on that one just because I really wanted to hear. Oh, one of my friends was like, "You need to hear what Joe has to say. Like, listen to what Joe has to say." And I did, feel bad for her a little bit, but it just kind of seems like it was turning into a like we hate both the Toms campaign, and it was kind of
Yeah.
not innocent. Like you were both not completely innocent in any of this.
Well, then I'm like, "Why did you not have somewhere to live?" She, like, implied she was staying with him because she was couch surfing, and I'm like, "Why don't you have somewhere to live?"
But she had another place. It's like drive a little farther. It's like obviously you were maybe using that as an excuse to try to sleep on his couch. So
Yeah, it was weird, and then it's like, if Kristen was your friend, just stay with Kristen.
yeah, exactly. Good point.
It was weird, and then when she was doing his hair, that other hairdresser, like, came over and was like, "We need to, like, wash this out," and I'm like, "Is she not even a hairdresser?"
A lot of people have been wondering that. A lot of
'Cause her hair always kinda looked like crap too during the show, and I'm like, "That's not good advertisement."
no, some people are like, she ruin his hair as like being vindictive? And I'm like, well, that's not good for your business. If that's what your business is, it's not worth ruining his hair to make him look bad.
That's what I thought. I was like, Once he said he was going to a speed dating thing, she's like, "I'm gonna bleach all your hair off."
Give him like a bald spot.
I know,
Well,
I know, because that can really damage your hair, and if you don't do it right, your hair could fall out doing all that bleach. Thank God he looked normal at the reunion because he's an attractive guy, so I'm like, "Don't ruin your hair," because he seems like he has a lot of hair too, which is as we saw Jax was spraying, like, Rust-Oleum on his little bald spot. I'm like, "You don't wanna lose that hair, Schwartz."
no, no. I know. I wish I would. He was at the watch party, and I didn't get to see him. He kind of like disappeared. Once it started going on, and then I couldn't find him. But I wanted to get like a good look at him with the brown hair because the only time I've seen him in person was with the blonde. So I wanted to just see what he looks like in person with his natural hair color.
Yeah, his real hair.
Yeah.
What did you think when they were asking about, like, when Ariana met Dan, how she met him, like, so quickly, and people were judging, which I kinda forgot, about James meeting Allie so quickly after Raquel called the engagement off.
Oh, like how do I feel about how quickly she met him and everything?
Yeah, because they gave James a hard time. I kinda forgot about that.
Oh,
Remember they were like, "Oh, you met Allie in 2 months and you were engaged to Raquel?" And it's like,
it's not even that
Ariana met Dan 10 days later.
not even that long. So I don't know. It's kind of like sometimes it helps a broken heart to just
Yeah,
move, and maybe it's for forever, and maybe it's just, maybe it's a rebound. You never know. But
yeah. I know, because then Andy was like, "What are you gonna do?" He lives in New York, and she's like, "I'd love to be bi-coastal." And I was like, "I could kinda see that, especially if she's gonna choose, like, a life with no kids."
yeah, for
She could
sure.
definitely do that.
Totally. That'd be fun. Like if you didn't have kids, it'd be fun
I
to do.
know, I'm like, "Wait, I wanna do that."
Yeah.
Pull my kids out of school.
Not bi-coastal, but I want to be like snowbird. I want to be like I'm from Washington State, so I want to be up in Washington in the summer, and I
Wow.
California in the winter.
In the winter, that'd be cool. I know, it gets cold. I'm from Delaware, so it gets cold here. We're always like, "Maybe when we're old, we'll be snowbirds and we could go to Florida, and then we could come back to Delaware."
I know why they do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just gets too cold here, and, unless it's snowing, I don't like the cold.
Yeah, I'm not a cold fan either.
I could take, like, a week of, like, the snow and the cold and then let it be warm again.
Yeah, yeah. I'd rather live in the warmth and visit the cold than vice versa.
Yeah. I think it is interesting, though, that when Dan and Ariana went on that date, he was, like, very hesitant to move because she's like, "Or you could move here," because it's kinda hard for her to completely move elsewhere, but I
Yeah,
didn't know, like, his family's in New York too. And
yeah.
isn't Ariana from Florida?
Who are you? Oh, I think she is. I think she is.
So I'm like, okay, like his family's there. That's like a point. It's like the Paige and Craig thing, the long debate of who will move where.
Some ways it's kind of like, okay, well, he's not just trying to like be with her for the wrong reasons, and because he's not, trying to just mooch and move in with her. So I guess that's refreshing. But at the same time, you want your partner to be able to be like, I want to make some sacrifices to be with you and things like that. So there's kind of like a fine line, I guess.
I know. I know it's hard. Like that's what I mean. Like with Paige and Craig, I love them together so much. But I'm like, Craig has businesses and a house in Charleston and films a show down there. Whereas Paige, I feel like you just film in the Hamptons in the summer and you don't own a house in New York and you don't have a business. Like her business is traveling. And, like, she could do her Amazon lives and stuff down in Charleston, and I feel like maybe she wants to stay there because if when she has a baby, her mom would be there, but
Yeah, I could see that.
I just want them to get engaged and live together.
I feel like sometimes when you have a baby, it's like it just changes everything.
Yeah,
Might change the way her life looks like or what she wants out of things because she's on fire right now with her fashion stuff. It's just I wouldn't want to kill the momentum on that either if I was her. But
I
you
know.
once you have a baby, it's like I you don't want your momentum to stop, but it just ends up kind of doing that.
I know. So that's why it was interesting to see like Sheena and LaLa as parents because I'm like, they're still like busy. They're busier than ever, honestly. And I'm like, they film all this stuff without kids, unlike the Valley where it's like, let's implement the family. And Randall doesn't even allow Ocean to be on the show.
Oh, okay. I never really noticed that, but you're right.
Yeah. Which I think is like, he's just doing that as a tactic to be annoying to her because he can, because he's the other parent.
Yeah. So
But
she,
she's like, "I don't really care. I don't really maybe even, like, want her on the show."
yeah, so I guess she would have, if she did do her own show, that would kind of cramp her stuff.
Or, can't go to the Valley if you can't show your kid.
Yeah. Well, no, now she will have one at least.
Yeah, yeah. I know, that's gonna be interesting too when Andy was, like, kinda talking about all that, and she said how Randall's other 2 kids, like, will visit and then go home together. I wonder how that'll work when Lala's one kid stays with her and Ocean has to go. Like, she'll probably get sad.
Sad for Ocean, but I mean, even the other one might be like, "Well, where's my dad?" I don't know, it might make the daddy conversation come up a little earlier than it would naturally.
Yeah. I know. I got some hot tea yesterday, and allegedly, and a rumor is that Jesse from the Valley and LaLa are hooking up right now.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
Wow!
full belly pregnant, and I'm like, "Wait, what? That's if that's
Wow!
real, that's juicy."
Oh, that is juicy. Jesse
Right?
kind of like, we were kind of interacting with Jesse yesterday because we did a drawing of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was all excited about it and like telling us, showing his friends, and his friends were like coming over to our page, checking it out and stuff. So that's interesting.
Oh,
But
that's so
that
fun.
one girl, so but maybe he's dating around.
I know, I saw he had a girlfriend, so I was like, but I was like, "I don't know. Maybe they already broke up."
I
Like
like Juicy, so I mean, I'd be okay with that, like just for the just for the theatrics of it all. I'd kind of like to see Jesse and Lala dating.
I know, and then I was like, "Oh my god, is she doing that to get on the Valley too, if that's true?"
It's
She's
like
really making a lot of sacrifices.
either way on there.
Yeah. I hated when they talked about Pump closing, like, sometimes, like, I don't know how you feel, but whenever they just, like, loop Lisa Vanderpump in, I'm like, "Ugh, you again." Like,
Oh
I like her, but I'm like, "No one works at the restaurant anymore, like, we really don't even need you at the reunion."
yeah, and she was saying quite a few negative things, like just about Ariana and Katie and stuff, and it was, she's kind of got a bone to pick with them right now too. So
Well,
seems
I
like,
feel like they're probably like, "You're not like a partner. This isn't like Tom Tom. So, like, we don't care what you think at the end of the day about our sandwich shop."
yeah, Ariana's facial expressions were telling me she is not too pleased with Lisa at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because, the debacle they got into with that Penny lady,
Mm.
and they were trying to get rid of her, and when I watched the Peacock clip, Lisa was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be upset if it doesn't, like, work out with Penny and stuff," and it's like, "Well, it's not working out." And you could get the vibe when they were doing that interview, like, she was overtaking Ariana and Katie, and I think that's ultimately why they want her out. They're probably like, "Listen, you're not gonna be our partner, you're gonna, like, work for us."
It's like her hand, and it's like Lisa's extension inside of their business, kind of.
Yeah. And we know they struggled with the permits, and Lisa's acting like, "Oh, darling, you coulda got the permits taken care of right away." And it's like, maybe not, especially if maybe they don't have, like, pull like you, like, she's
Yeah,
had lots of restaurants.
million times she knows like kind of the what the steps are. Sometimes if you don't know, you can't be proactive, and you have to like wait and wait and wait to like get the,
Mhm.
instead of like taking the next step or like trying to push for something to move forward. I can totally understand why it's taken longer when you have no clue like what you're doing.
Yeah, well, and then so that's when, like Lala was getting into it with Katie because they were like at the very end, which that's what was making me mad because Lisa was like, "Oh, and I'm sure you're upset that Ariana's away." And Katie's like, "No, I wasn't." And Lala's like, Mhm. And
Mhm.
then she's just kinda throwing her under the bus, and I'm not saying maybe Katie didn't say these things that she's like, alleging that she was venting, because we all vent, and we all, at the end of the day, talk about people. Like, whether we're on TV or we're not on TV, we all do, but that doesn't mean we don't love our friends or
Yeah.
love our family, and this is the part where I don't like about LaLa. It's like, you wanna be truth telling, but you're, like, pulling something out that wasn't even on camera.
I I I feel like I'm not caught up on this because I saw something where today where it was like apparently it was on camera, but it never made the episode or something like that.
Oh, really?
That it's not Katie's fault that the producers chose not to put it on there.
Oh.
I think that people are kind of like digging into this a little bit more to, and I don't really know like what the truth is at this moment, but
Yeah, it's supposedly a phone call between Katie and LaLa, and Katie's just kind of venting a little. Like, remember how when Ariana, um, did Dancing with the Stars, like, no one even knew?
mhm.
Got the call, and Sheena's like, "Oh, I, like, found out from your boyfriend." And which is kinda, like, weird, you'd rather find out from your friend. So Katie was venting to LaLa like, "Oh, I, like, found out that she's going on Broadway." And Katie probably is thinking like, "When are we gonna get this damn store open?"
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But when it's a business situation, you kind of got to communicate those sorts of things. But
Yeah.
maybe Dancing with the Stars with Sheena, maybe she just like felt uncomfortable. She felt like maybe she thought she was bragging. She didn't want to be like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, I know. How about when Sheena during the season was like, "I was taking dance lessons," and I'm like, "Why?"
And then Tom's Sandoval said he'd been taking dance lessons too.
I know, I'm like, "Oh my god, you guys are sad." Like, I don't know if, like, they call and say, like, "Hey, we wanna pick someone from your cast to do Dancing with the Stars," so then they get in their brain like, "Oh, it'll probably be me." So they're
Mm-mm.
like, "Let me prepare." But it's like, if that doesn't happen, I don't know why out of thin air you just think like, "Oh, I'm gonna be asked."
Right. And I wondered if they were just taking dance lessons ever since Lisa Vanderpump was on there years ago.
Yeah, she was on it a really long time ago.
Yeah,
Um, Ariana did an amazing job, though.
she did. I was impressed. I was super impressed.
I know. Like, I was like, I wonder if they just don't wanna let her or pick her to win because people be like, "Oh, you just let her win because of everything," but I'm like, she woulda deserved to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I never watched Dancing with the Stars until this season, like, watched the entire thing, and she was I mean, the girl who won was really good, but
Yeah.
I think Ariana definitely coulda won.
I know, and I wish I could see Chicago. My friend and I were, like, looking at the tickets, and they're so expensive.
Are they? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm not on that coast, so I haven't even tried to look, but
Yeah,
maybe
'cause we're not that far from New York, like, we could take the train up and go. It's like a 2-hour train ride.
did you see the little clip that came out? Because they let the cameras in there for let you use your phone. There's, like,
Oh
a her.
oh, really?
Yeah, it was cool seeing it because made that actually made me wanna go see it, just seeing a little clip of her doing it. The one clip
Shut up.
was a lot of, like, backup vocals on a different clip I'd seen, and so, this most recent one, it was just all her singing, and she was doing a really good job.
Wow, yeah, I'd love to hear that.
I
'Cause
can
I feel like Tom always, like, took the spotlight.
Yeah,
So, people are always like, "Oh, Ariana's been so boring until now and was never really, like, a part of the show," and it's like, well, maybe it's because no one, like, cared to, like, focus on her at all.
mhm, yeah, and he kinda he wanted that for himself, so we saw that with the cocktail book.
Yes. Yeah, I have the new cocktail book in the background, the single AF one.
Well, I was supposed to get that because Ariana was supposed to come to San Francisco, and I was supposed to go get the book and get it autographed and all this stuff. And then, like Chicago happened, and then they never rebooked her coming to San Francisco. So I was like, I'm a little salty about it.
Aw, I bet she'll still do it, though.
Hopefully, sometime.
And then the sandwich shop is opening, on the 22nd
Yes.
this month. I'm like, "Oh my god, they'll be busy, that'll be a line out the door."
Yeah. Isn't it just like next Thursday
Yeah.
or Wednesday?
And that was another part at the end of the reunion that I didn't like when LaLa and she actually had said the same line on the after show too. So I'm like, I saw this video, I forget who it was that someone made, and it was like showing the clip of her saying it in the after show, the reunion, and then like a movie of Paul Rudd, like rehearsing lines in the mirror. And they were like, this is LaLa before she goes on camera. And it's like, she was threatening, or she said Katie threatened to burn her business to the ground. I'm like, I can't even imagine Katie saying that to her. That's strange. And then, she's like, "What business?" Something about her is like, "Nothing about her. I
Oh,
have an actual business that feeds my child or takes care of my child." And I'm a mom, but I hate that, like, since she is a child, she thinks her business is more important than theirs.
yeah, especially when she's probably getting some pretty good child support as well.
Yeah, I'm like, Randall pays for the kid, and she's lucky she has her mom and brother.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I'm like, "Meh."
Yeah. I mean, let's just not after anyone's business. That's just not very nice.
Well, and I'm like, just because the sandwich shop isn't open, it's still a business, and they
They
still pay for it, and they're still working for it.
Yeah, they've invested a lot into it, so
Yeah, and I'm kinda like, she doesn't really do the Give Them Lala anymore, I feel like. It's just the podcast, but I'm
what
like, "Where's the makeup? Where'd the makeup go?"
Oh, that was the makeup brand? So, yeah, like, I wonder what this whole rebranding
So
is.
I think all she does is her podcast, and then she does her Amazon Lives, but, like, for real, her Amazon Lives, I don't watch them, but I see clips of them, like, all she does is, like, talk about, like, the show.
Yeah, she's not really, like, selling the product. I mean, I haven't watched
Yeah.
they're probably show the clip of they're gonna people are gonna screenshot, like, the juicy stuff probably, but
Yeah. She said that everyone attacks her like, ravenous dogs with rabies or something. Because she was, making fun of Scheana and Katie, and then she even said James, which was weird. She's like, "You guys lived in the comment section all season long," and then James was like, "What?"
like, why are you hey.
I'm like, I couldn't see James in the comment section giving 2 shits about what anyone says.
Yeah, I thought that one kinda came out of left field.
And Katie, I feel like, is kind of the same. She may comment back to people, but it's to be like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whereas Sheena is, like, being a little, like, going to the dark side and thinking that Brock and Lala are gonna hook up.
Yeah.
That was weird. What was, like, your thought on that?
I remember when it first came out and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, this woman, if Rachel did that, like, she's a real piece of work." Like, she's just, like, taking them all down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, but I mean, people said Lala and Brock.
Yeah. Oh, LaLa. Okay, sorry.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay, but they did say that about Raquel. They were like,
I
"Oh,
think
Raquel and Brock." Remember that?
the 2. Actually, I don't know. I never really thought that. That didn't feel like it was
Yeah, I think that's what I mean, like, that was just made up, but the fact that Sheena was like, "Maybe," and I felt bad for her, though, because she's probably like, "Well, I love Brock and Lala's my friend, but if it could happen to Ariana, Tom, and Raquel, it could happen to me too."
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that.
And then I'm like, "Wait, that's like a not a compliment at all to Lala, because that's like, because then I'm like, is that going back to, like, "I don't have a married boyfriend." Remember when she had to, like, lie about Randall, and then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, I can say Randall's name because he's divorced."
Mm. Yeah, I don't really know. I guess, like, in my mind, I, like, mashed both of those things up into, like, what in my brain, it was, like, Rachel, Raquel, LaLa. I never really separated the 2. I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about that one. I do think it's interesting that Brock is was raised Mormon, though.
I know. That was interesting when they went to that party, and he felt like he couldn't look at the girls.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, now I can understand him a lot better now," because I was raised
Yeah.
but
Oh, interesting.
it was kind of funny at the finale because the way he was dancing, and,
I know.
it just kind of felt like I was at a church dance again, and I was all, like, yelling at him like, "Hey, woo," you know?
Oh my god, yeah, no, that video of him dancing, it was, like, so funny.
I'm in the background of that video, but I don't really want people to know because I was like 20 or 30 pounds heavier. So I'm glad I didn't make it on the camera, but I'm in the background of that. I'm all like yelling at him.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I do like Brock.
I didn't like him like in the past when it was kind
Yeah.
of like trying to have them like do parties for him, like for his was his engagement or something. There were times in the past where I felt like he was trying to like mooch a little bit, but
Yeah.
I really like him now that I've gotten to know him a little better. I like him a lot. I know there's some people out there who don't like him, but I enjoy him.
I know. Or did you hear like Jax? So after the finale, the Tom Sandoval and Jax were on Watch What Happens Live together, and Jax was like, "Oh yeah, Sheena's a great husband." And Andy's like, "What?" I knew exactly what he meant, like meaning she's the breadwinner. And Andy, it like went over his head. And then when Jax explained it to Andy, Andy was like, "Oh, that's not nice."
That's kind of a low blow.
And I was like, let's remember when Brittany was doing those Jenny Craig ads and you weren't doing anything."
Exactly. Yeah, he's one to talk. Well, his shit doesn't stink, so
I know it's like it does now because I never thought she would leave him, but I'm glad she's fed up with him.
I know. I wonder like what pushed it over the edge. I mean, he is being awful.
So
He's
did you listen? I listened to the Not Skinny But Not Fat when Brittany went on that podcast and she totally was like disclosing all the info. She just said they were like fighting, butting heads, kind of like what we're seeing on the Valley, but she said it turned into every day. And there was one explosive fight, and she was just like, I was just like, had enough. I feel like we're seeing it unfold now on the Valley.
it's maybe it's kind of one of those things where when other people are seeing it, it makes you like normally you could like get over it, but then like when it's more embarrassing when it's being documented and other people are witnessing it, and it's kind of like in your face, and you're gonna have to confront this.
Yeah. And her mom stayed with them for like a month. So she probably heard and saw a lot because it's like you can only behave for so long. If someone's staying with you for a month, like they're going to probably see you fighting. And she's probably like, Brittany, this is like not good.
Yes. Oh man, that man. If yeah, I would. I would be an abusive wife if that man was my spouse. I'd be like physically abusing him. He's so, oh my gosh, he
I
would,
thought he turned like a corner, like when they weren't on TV anymore and had the son. He seemed like he was normal. And as soon as we saw that they were coming back on TV, I'm like, I hope he doesn't go down to like loony crazy town.
mm,
And
I
then
know,
when he got the bar,
I
I was
love,
like, nope.
I love him on TV, but God, I can imagine how it would be like to be married to that guy.
I know. It's like Kristen Doty. Like I love her for TV, but I wouldn't want to be like her boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because what do you think, to like maybe touch on the Valley a little? What do you think about Luke? I think he's like not cut out for the LA life.
No, and I don't know if he's really cut out for the reality TV stuff either.
I know, and it's funny, like when they were in that therapy session last week, he's like, or I mean this week, he was like, I just can't see myself living here long term. And then Kristen's probably thinking, like, well, we're on TV, bitch, so you better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they probably should have talked about some of those things. I kind of wondered if like the baby thing just kind of popped up when like they knew they were going to be on the show, like this could be part of this storyline or something.
I
Maybe
know. I feel like she should freeze her eggs because I get her theory of like, I'm getting older, but it's like, don't just because like you're 40 and he's like your boyfriend for like a week, be like, oh, okay, do you want to have a baby?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no.
Freezing your eggs would be a great idea.
Yeah, it's like you could always do what like Ariana said in the after show. She's like, thank God we didn't make embryos with like my eggs and Tom's sperm because that would have been a whole, they would have actually had to go to court for it, like custody of like a child.
But who would want it though? Like who would
I know, because she'd be like, I don't want to share this baby with you. I don't want the baby to be half demon.
that would have been devastating.
So thank God she has frozen eggs all
Yeah.
by herself.
Hopefully if she had, maybe she would have saved some of the just the because I guess they save longer if you fertilize them, they survive longer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that's why she was like trying to hurry and do it. But
Oh.
yeah.
I know Scheana has, like, eggs frozen too. I'm wondering if they'll have another baby.
Oh yeah. I kind of wondered that too. She said she didn't want to be pregnant again, but
She
maybe
could have a surrogate.
a surrogate thing. Yeah, maybe LaLa could be their surrogate.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
That'd be
Hey, she'd be easy because, like, she does take care of herself and she's sober, so at least you wouldn't have to worry.
that'd be a good like sister wives kind of episode.
Oh my god, that would definitely be interesting.
Yeah, that would be a storyline right there.
I know. I know, and then on the last episode of The Valley, they all went to Big Bear, and Janet didn't invite, Zach, Kristen, and Luke, and I felt bad for Zach.
I did too. He was so sweet.
I loved too in the episode when she had the conversation with him on speakerphone. He's like, "Your pink booted friend was like Harriet the spy in the background." And I was like,
I
and
love.
then they're sitting there listening and their faces were like,
I know.
like,
Love that. Like I
I
love
was like,
that guy with the boots. It was just so funny.
I know. As soon
Ron,
as he walked in, I was like, those are like pink UGG rain boots.
yeah. Well, they definitely were memorable. You know, not going to forget those.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zach was so sweet. That made me just like fall in love with him when he was like, oh, he just looked like a little boy. I wanted to give him a hug.
I know. And then it made me kind of like view Jana as like a mean girl.
I know. Why wouldn't you? I mean, I see why when he called, he was being a little, but you have to understand he was hurt and that's why he
Yeah.
was
Well,
acting
and then I'm like, is this really your baby moon or is this a cast trip that Bravo's paying for?
exactly.
And that's why I thought maybe it really is a baby moon because Bravo would be like, well, you can't like uninvite people.
Oh, you can't. Wait, they could uninvite people. Can't they? People do it all the time.
No, no, I mean like if Bravo organized it, like they probably would have been like, no, Zach and Kristen need to come. This is the cast trip.
Oh, but
So that's why I'm maybe thinking it maybe Janet and Jason really did rent that house on their own.
oh, well, I think that happens a lot though, because I think they pay for Bravo pays for stuff all the time, but that's kind of like where all like the manipulation kind of comes into play because it's like, oh, this person has control of the trip this time, and then they can choose who they invite and don't invite.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like with New Jersey, for example, it's kind of like with the teams, and it's kind of like you're not going to get your screen time if you're not nice to so and so, you know.
Mhm. I know all these shows are coming to like a crossroads where it's like on the valley, like we got two divorces. Well, one divorce, one separation. And then Vanderpump, we got Tom and Ariana. And then on Jersey, we got like Team Teresa, Team Melissa. And it's like, where do you go? You can't like keep filming all this separate stuff.
I know. It's becoming like very divisive, and I think it's really interesting how much these shows are influenced by Instagram and TikTok these days. It's just it's I kind of like it because it makes me feel like we're part of it,
Yeah.
but it is getting like pretty ugly.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, can we kick it back to like going to Vicky Gunnelson's backyard?
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
and everyone's friends.
I know. I really do kind of I do when you said that about the valley, I made me really miss a lot of the old school housewives stuff.
Yeah. I think they do like now more than ever get caught up in the social media because social media didn't even like exist back then.
Hmm.
No one even really knew what anyone was saying about each other.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice as a star to not have to know what everyone's
Yeah.
saying.
Or even like on Orange County, it's going to be interesting. Like Tamra totally flip flops on poor Shannon because Alexis Bellino comes back and she's dating Shannon's ex, John Jansen.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to watch, actually.
I know. And but it's like that's what I mean. It's like Tamara, you're great for TV. But like if I was on the show, I'd be like, I don't want to be your friend in real life.
No, I don't think a lot of these people who are fun to watch are going to be like a good friend or spouse.
Yeah, I know. Or it's like when you could tell Jesse and Michelle were already like in a dark place in their marriage when they came on the show. It's like the show isn't going to help.
Mm-mm. No, it sounded like she maybe had plans to already do something, but it's like, let's wait for the show to, let's kind of got this opportunity. Let's like stall that a little bit.
I know. I need to know who was the producer or actor that she was texting.
I know I know. I want to, that's the one thing we'll probably never find out.
I know. And then so it was like a cliffhanger this week when Jax had the weird conversation with her. And he's like, I'm so sorry to ask you this, but he's like, Christian told me that you're texting like sexy pictures to this guy. And she's like, well, she's correct. And it's like multiple people. And I'm like, what?
I feel like that was clipped, like they took like clips of her conversation. I don't feel like that's her actual response to that question. That's just like,
Oh,
because I feel like she wouldn't have said it like that matter of fact. I think she was probably caught. She looked like she was shocked by him
yeah.
saying, "Gonna have to confront." There's that scene of her confronting Jesse about it, or Jesse confronting her about it
Uh-huh.
on the trip. But I feel like they're clipping that. I don't
Like
think,
a couple things together. I hate when they do that.
you know.
It was like I remember from VPR what they clipped together for the trailer was like Scheana and Brock talking at that dinner, and she's like, "I don't think we're gonna be together forever." And then they left out the part when they actually went to dinner, she went, "Because one of us is gonna die first." So it was actually like a romantic comment, but instead it made it look like, "Oh, I don't think we're gonna be together forever because like, we're gonna get divorced."
Yeah, did they even add that part in at all? Because I feel like I saw that somewhere.
They showed it at the reunion.
Okay, yeah, that was, yeah, I didn't like that.
I was like, "That's not nice."
No, and then at least if you're gonna tease it, like put it in the episode.
Yeah. Well, and then they really made the Schwartz and Sheena thing like, "Oh, we made out," like a big deal during the
Yeah,
trailer. How about them implying that, like, Schwartz and LaLa were, like, flirting
I don't know.
all season?
I don't really see that, but
I know, she's like, "This is why I'm not nice to people, because then it takes it
it's
as
like,
flirting." Well, because I did love the comment when Tom was like when they were all, like, out to dinner, and Schwartz was like, "Well, we haven't had sex," and he's like, "Not yet."
yeah.
And then she's like, "I would break your you know what in half." And then I'm like, "Yeah, you would." Like, he would be, like, scared. She would, like, dominate him.
Be hilarious.
Yeah. I feel like he'd kinda like that, though.
I feel like he'd be all like,
Yeah, like, all, like, turned on.
yeah, yeah, I think he would like that.
I know, I'm wondering if we'll see his girlfriend if there's a next season. She's, like,
I know.
23 or something.
I was hoping there was gonna be another one, and then they were gonna have, like, both of the Toms with their new girlfriends on there. Would have been interesting.
Oh my god. They were like Schwartz's girlfriend was, like, 10 when Vanderpump Rules started or something, and I'm like, "Ew, that's weird."
That's
That
crazy.
is weird.
Yeah.
'Cause he's older than I'm 33 and he's older than me, and she's 10 years younger than me, and I'm like, "That is weird."
Wow. That is pretty crazy.
I'm like, I don't think Tom's girlfriend's, like, that much younger than him.
She is younger than she looks. Like, which, Sandy's, she's pretty
Mhm.
young too. She looks older, but
She dated Leonardo DiCaprio, like, we need to check on her mental state and see if she's okay. Like
God.
see, so she's older than 25 because Leo, like, only likes it, like, 25, and then once they
Oh,
get past that age, they're too old.
Tom made that joke, like, I think she aged out.
Yeah, she aged out for Leo, so she's fine for Tom.
I wanna see this wallpaper at the house that supposedly has, Leo on it.
I know, I need to Google that.
I wonder where they got it from. I know Spoonflower has a lot of cool wallpapers. Maybe it's on there.
That would be wild if that's supposed to be her
Yeah.
on the wallpaper when James is like, "It's a tall brunette, like, model on the arm of Leonardo DiCaprio."
And, Sandy seemed like he liked that, was like, "Yeah." I was
Yeah.
like,
"Yeah, that's my girlfriend."
"Yeah, it's your girlfriend."
They, like, unfollowed each other, though, this past week on Instagram and then refollowed each other.
Oh,
Isn't that
that
weird?
that was weird.
It's like, why do you have to do that? Like, even if you're, like, maybe mad at the person, it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Wasn't that when he was on Watch What Happens Live?
Yeah. And I'm like, "Well, I don't think he said anything bad about you. He just said you don't watch the show."
Well, he said that like maybe it was the timeline because the timeline when they started dating, she said wasn't the correct timeline, but it seemed to be add up with when he came out with it on online whenever they came out with him dating her.
Yeah.
But I wondered if maybe they'd been dating like longer than that, and maybe there was some overlap with her and someone else, and maybe that's why she got
Oh.
upset about it. But yeah,
For once, he was the truth teller, perhaps?
who was
I said, "For once, maybe he was the truth teller, perhaps?"
accident, maybe by accident.
Yeah. I know. I was like, even if you don't watch the show, like, you know who he is, and, like, it would just be hard for him to get a serious relationship after this.
I would think so. I mean, yeah,
I mean, some could say, like, "Oh, well, him and Ariana were, like, miserable together, so, like, that's why he cheated," but it's, like, still.
yeah. I think it's kind of like in his DNA. It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause that's what they always circle back to, like, everyone on this show has cheated.
Yeah.
Like, technically even Ariana, because she was the other woman when he was still with Kristen,
Hmm.
technically. So it's like, I think everyone but Katie
Yeah,
has cheated.
that's true.
Well, this was so much fun. I loved gossiping with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I'm not used to gossiping without some wine, so it was fun. It was fun to have a sober gossip session.
I know, I know. Sometimes it's like you're more clear-headed. You can get
Yeah,
it out.
probably good.
Well, tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, well, I'm most active on Instagram. That's kind of where I get all of my business at the moment. I am on Etsy and stuff, but I don't have very many things on there. I need to expand uh, what I'm doing, but I get pretty much everything off of Instagram. So you can find me at drawmebitch.com. And on Instagram, I'm just starting TikTok, and I've got coloring books and stickers. I follow all of the hottest shows and then do coloring pages for my subscribers. So if you like Vanderpump Rules or The Valley and you like to color, we have a coloring club. You can join, and I'll give you downloadable coloring pages, and we can gossip and color and have lots of fun.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, it's super fun.
I
And
love that.
talking with my coloring partner Julia soon too, so that'll be fun.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm gonna have her on for Summer House, and then I was like, all 3 of us need to do one too.
That would be cool. Yeah, you and her are gonna be a riot together. When I listened to you, I was like, oh man, you two are gonna have fun because she's a good time.
Oh, good. And then we're gonna close out with, if you were on The Real Housewives, what would your tagline be?
I had to really think hard about this one and Google a few things to get inspired. But I ended up with um, I learn the rules so that I can break them like an artist. That's my tagline.
Ooh, I like that.
Also,
That's a good one.
yeah.
I like that.
Then there's a Frida Kahlo one that I liked too, and it says, "I paint my own reality." So that was cool too. It kind of ties in the reality thing. But
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
I thought I'd stick with one of those too.
Yeah, I love that.
What's yours?
I don't know. I always say to my husband, I'm like, what would mine be? I should think of it for myself because I always ask everyone like
Yeah.
theirs. I need to think about it.
Glad you didn't put me on the spot because I legit spent like 24 hours thinking really hard about that one.
I know that's the one thing I always tell people, like, that's basic. I'm like, okay, we'll talk about this show. And then, like, I like to keep it like free, open flow convo. But that's the one thing I'm like, I just want to let you know that's the one question I'm going to ask you.
Well, thank you for the heads up.
Yes, of course. And this was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
Sure thing, anytime.
Bye. As always, this was so fun, and you could find me on Instagram at Bravo T with the Stay at Home Mom, Spotify, and Apple. Till next time, see ya.